Hi there. So today I'm going to demonstrate how I approach the hardest sections and choke points in Streets of Rage 4. This video is aimed at the newer players or the people struggling to get the S ranks on hard difficulty for the trophies. In fact, all the gameplay you're about to see is played on hard. But if you're already playing on Mania, that's great. That's seriously hardcore, and you probably don't need this in your life. So first off, I'm going to briefly talk about the characters and a couple of important fighting techniques. If you want to skip ahead to the gameplay, I'll give you the timestamp below. So I'll begin by telling you two of my favourite moves in the entire game. They are the throw and the strong attack. Why? Crowd control. They are the best techniques the game has to offer apart from the defensive specials in order to control the fight. And you'll need to use these if you plan on playing arcade mode where you only get 1 credit. Crowd control means you are essentially limiting or disabling your enemy's abilities during an encounter. The throw is very handy at dealing with airborne targets, i.e. the dropkick girls, and the strong attack has a similar effect in causing long stun times on multiple targets. The two moves work well in tandem because you can easily charge up a strong attack during the throw animation. And why this is useful is because you can create a situation with less moving parts. Let me explain. More enemies on the map requires a greater mental bandwidth. There are so many different enemies in this game, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Some will punch you out of the sky, while some will try to keep you off the ground. Some will add hazards to the map, while some stages themselves will try to work against you. All of this combined creates a dynamic beat-em-up game with a constantly evolving puzzle element to it. It's hard to remember that you can't jump around these guys, and you gotta watch out from kicks from her, plus you need to watch your line against this fat It's too much. The benefit of crowd control in this context is the fact that you can synchronize groups of enemies. If you perform a strong attack or hurl a body at a group of other bodies, their movements will be reset, and it is a lot easier to predict what they will do next as most enemies have similar movement speeds. You can see in these examples when I charge my strong attack immediately after the last hit of a combo or during a throw, and they're especially useful when exploiting the wall bounce. So this is something I do quite frequently, and if you change your mind about wanting to use it, you can always animation cancel the strong attack with a defensive special if you really need to. Not all strong attacks are created equal, however, which leads me to my next point. According to the PlayStation Trophy's rarity rates, it seems that Axel is probably the most played character at the moment, when in reality I feel that he is the weakest as an overall package. His movement speed is slow and his offensive special leaves him wide open for attacks. Adam, on the other hand, appears to be great at everything. He has a double-sided neutral kick, a powerful strong attack, a dash that gives you perfect distancing which is much more useful than a run, and a handy 3-hit combo that knocks enemies to the ground quickly. Yeah, I would have to say that Adam is definitely my favourite, with Blaze in second place with a gnarly floor bounce combo, and Floyd in third place due to his sheer strength and ability to effortlessly pick up enemies. Apparently I heard that there are some balance changes in the works in a new patch update. I may or may not cover these changes in the future, I haven't decided yet, but I'll probably discuss it in a community post when it becomes official. Anyway, I'd be interested to know what changes you think the game needs in the comments below. Moving on, the main point of this video is to show you the sections in this game that gives us players the most trouble. There are several locations where there are noticeable difficulty spikes. Now, I'm not saying that they need to be nerfed in any way, but they are definitely headache-inducing areas that could make or break your otherwise perfect S-rank run. I'm going to show you my approach to each section while trying to take no damage on hard mode. So first up is the old pier. This is probably the hardest stage to S-rank of the lot. This encounter is at the midway point where you are approached by 2 Murphys and 2 Barneys, and I always begin by waiting in the bottom corner to try and isolate a single Barney, then air specialing over for a one-on-one. Most characters' air specials should get them over. If you are trying to go for a high score, then you preferably want to pick up the health items in these barrels while you're at max health for an extra 1200 points. And you can wait to do that after hitting up the retro level because exiting the level will give you full health, but of course you'll need a taser. A little trick that I picked up is the fact that if you drop a taser into the arcade room, the Barney will sort of glitch out and try to pick it up to no avail. Then you should quickly disarm and destroy the other taser, or at the very least keep some enemies between you and the other Barney so he doesn't grab you. Sometimes this will be hard to pull off, but because these cops are so tanky, it's a good way to even out the odds against the other thugs and save them for last. Murphys are lower in priority because they are slow and easy to avoid. Watch my previous video to see how to take them out. So as you can see, I scored a decent combo, and now we can grab our taser and proceed to get our butt kicked by Zamza. Next up is Chinatown, the notorious dojo section with all the Gaussias. There isn't too much to say about this part, but our aim here is to maintain possession of the spear on the ground, as well as the other two that come out later in the encounter. And they can come out from either side, it isn't predetermined. The only two attacks that really matter in this section are the spear attack, which will one-hit a Gaussia, and the jump kick. This one is super important and the most effective way of disarming the spear-wielding Gaussias, which should be your number one priority. So again, maintain possession of the spears and utilize the jump kicks to acquire said spears. Next up is Airplane. So once we come down the elevator, there will be 3 riot cops protecting 2 projectile throwing ants. Simply enter by hugging the top corner, as it is the safest area, then rush the girls by jump kicking them after they've thrown their beakers. If you don't, you could create a mess for yourself. A large combo should do the trick, and then you can focus on soloing each dumpy one by one using the technique shown in my previous guide. The next part is slightly more complicated. Our favourite bloke Barney joins the fray. Now what we can do is bait out his quick grab by walking vertically. Once he engages you, force him to drop his taser and immediately destroy it. From there we can play defensively while focusing on catching the beakers, which you can also do mid-air. Again, save the dumfies for last, but beware of the other ant who spawns from the left side. And now to our final section. We all love it, the hallway in the castle of Y Island. We certainly saved the best for last and we're going to be hit by everything. We have the punks who can perform quick throws and slides, we have weaponized Gaussias, and of course we have, wait for it, the ultimate form of the Donovan, the final evolution of a dude who could probably use a tighter belt. He's basically a mini-boss, you fight several of him, and his name is... Supermassive Dickhead, or Z for short. This man has it all. He can use melee weapons, he can throw melee weapons, he can catch melee weapons, he can uppercut you out of the air, he has armor, and if you knock him down, he'll be granted with a couple seconds of invincibility frames. This is gonna be tough. But we'll start by using the trap to take out the Gaussias. One less thing to worry about. Now we'll be pincered by 2 supermassive dickheads, so let's use the sword until it breaks. 2 things we have to be mindful of: protecting the knives so that we don't have them thrown at us, and the overly aggressive punks who will slide at you incessantly. I make plenty use of Adam's offensive special here to crowd control, and the only time this guy is safe is when the Z's are holding weapons. So if you wanted to, you could throw a knife at him so that he catches it, which will permit you to jump in the air. If there is any time where a star move should be used, it is here in this spot. And that's all she wrote. We've reached the end of this video and I hope you've gotten something out of it. Streets of Rage 4 is hard, man. It really is a game that is all about replayability and practicing each level over and over. I've really enjoyed my time with it and I hope you have too. It's been a real nostalgia trip for me, that's for sure. Feel free to leave some tips that you might have for the sections I've shown, and thanks for making it this far. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.